Ducks fans, are you ready? You are listening to the Ducks and Pucks podcast. This is the #1 home for Anaheim Ducks talk and analysis. Here we go.
Welcome to the show. This is your host, Mike Walters, along with my co-host, Eddie Richard, and we're going to get you ready for the Ducks' 25th anniversary season. Plenty to talk about on the show. Injury news, the lineups, the young guys making the team. But first, we'll kind of introduce ourselves. Since we're starting off the season again, you may know me already as Mike Walters. I founded DucksNPucks and then have done a podcast and T-shirts and a few other things throughout the last couple seasons. And with me is Eddie Richard. Introduce yourself. Eddie Richard is also a huge Ducks fan as well.
Yeah, I'm happy to be on the show as usual. And hockey starting. I met Mike through DucksNPucks while I was in the Army. I've been a big fan since the beginning, and so it's really a pleasure and honor that I'm a co-host and I can provide insights and updates and just talk hockey with everybody. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And Eddie Richard also plays hockey as well, so sometimes we'll refer to different things going on the ice and, what happens, as a skater, because, Eddie, you've done that. You've also played goalie, so you've got a couple good perspectives from you being on the rink. So let's kind of get into what's happened the last couple weeks. A lot of big news with the Ducks. Unfortunately, a lot of negative news. The first was Corey Perry in the first preseason game that the Ducks had against the Kings. He came off the ice and didn't play. The Ducks ended up winning that game, as they did the second game against the Kings as well, the two that they finished up the preseason. But Perry was gone, and we really didn't know what had happened. Then the next day, the news came out that there was a pop in his knee, and then he was going to have surgery, and there was also some things that they were going to have to clean up, pre-existing stuff too as well. So kind of a blow, obviously. A lot of people got upset, Eddie, on social media, people freaking out, tweeting out RIP Ducks and, our season's over and things like that. What did you think, when this news first broke? Obviously, this is before the whole Kase thing. So what did your initial reaction that Perry was gone? Were you, stressed out, frustrated, or did you kind of look at it as like, well, we've got a lot of young talent coming? What was your take on that whole situation?
Well, the funny thing was, like, going on social media and seeing previous posts, before it was like, get rid of Perry should go, blah, 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 and all of a sudden, in 180, oh my God, Perry's injured, oh, the Ducks are done, this and that. So it's kind of funny seeing how that kind of came into. Here we go again. That's what I can say for this. Last season, we had all these injuries. Everyone thought, all right, this season's going to be different. We're not going to have injuries. And it starts happening again. It started in, postseason when that Kesler's news came out. He might not play. Like, oh, it's starting again. I guess the dominoes just fell from there. It's really unfortunate. And I'm one of those people, like, I wouldn't want to see Perry gone. I just want to see him produce more. And if he, and his contract was kind of bad. But when he got hurt, it was just like, man, it sucks. And I was hoping that he would come back this season fired up, because I'm sure, that these players know what's going on, how they're doing. I'm sure that they see fans' comments here and there. So I was looking forward to him coming in this season and just proving everyone wrong and shutting everyone up. But it's unfortunate that in a preseason game, he takes an injury. And during warm-ups at that, too. Like, he didn't even play that game. It's going to be bad, but like I said before, it's going to take a lot of people to step up. He had 50-something points. I want to say 59 or 49 points last season. No, 59. Someone has to make it for those points. So, we have a lot of young, hungry players. So hopefully, Troy Terry's supposed to, fill in that top-line role projectedly. Hopefully they just take that opportunity and start scoring points and just start shooting the puck. Getzlaf's going to set them up. So all he got to do is finish.
Yeah, absolutely. And a little bit later in the show, we're going to talk about the lineups, projected for opening night and see how it goes. So we'll get into that in a little bit. Also, as far as Perry's concerned, he is going to be gone for about 4 or 5 months. So don't look for him anytime basically in the rest of this calendar year. We're looking at, January, February timetable. So he's going to be out for a while. And, we'll have to see what the Ducks are going to do with these young guys as we'll get into in a little bit. But the Ducks ended up winning that game that night. Of course, the next day was the news and the aftermath. Then they went on and they played the Kings again on Saturday, and they ended up winning that game. But, of course, the story of that game was Ondrej Kase. You had a whole bunch of different things going on in this game with him. At first, there was the play where, he barely touched Quick, and we all know how Quick can be sensitive and get upset about, his space, trying to put it mildly. But anyways, he, got upset, and then Doughty took offense, and he goes over and checks Kase and starts punching him with the gloves on, but still punching him and pushing him down on the ground. Kase gets up and still plays. Later on, then he gets clipped inadvertently by a skate in the head. And then in the third period, which maybe a lot of people don't know, he got checked really hard into the rounded glass by the benches and was seen going skating really slow to the bench and then shaking his head. And then he eventually went back to the locker room. He only ended up playing about 50-something seconds in that third period. So at first the word was, oh, Kase had a bloody nose, and there wasn't really much going on. I feared that there was a concussion type thing. And then, of course, the news came out that there was, in fact, a concussion and that he's out indefinitely. So now, once this happened, of course, again, the wave of negativity on social media, everybody upset and everything. But what do you think, Eddie, as far as the cause of this concussion? I've seen a lot of people debating this. Some people thought maybe it was Doughty, him punching him in the head and going after him. Others are saying it's the skate to the head, and then more people are saying that, hey, he got checked really hard into the glass at the end there, and then went straight to the locker room. So, do you think it's one of these incidents, or do you think it's a combination? What's your take?
I just watched the clip as you were talking right now. Just went over it. Doughty didn't really seem to get that much, punches thrown in his head. He was throwing punches, and he hit him like in the face with both hands. But when he went to go punch him in the back of the head, it seems like he's missing. Obviously, Doughty doesn't really know how to fight, throw punches. And then seeing that skate to the face, that kind of, that looked bad. That could have done it, but I want to say that checking into the glass, the third period, I didn't see that play, and I'm going to try to look for it and look it up. But when I play hockey, I've been hit in the face with a skate. I've been punched in the face a few times. Getting punched by a beer league player is probably equivalent to getting punched by Doughty, because he doesn't really seem like he's punching that. Really kudos to Doughty for protecting his girlfriend too quick. That's really gentleman in him to do. I really think, that play that I didn't see him getting checked in the glass and then him leaving right after, like shaking his head and leaving. That probably done it right there. And with concussions, they're really hard to tell. They're really hard to predict too. I had I think 2 or 3 concussions while playing, and I didn't even know I had them until days after, and just when I had to go to the doctors and actually get it diagnosed. I had one bad one when I was throwing up consistently, and I was dizzy, and of course I'm stubborn. I had to go see a doctor until multiple days after, which could have resulted in really something bad. But yeah, I really think that that incident. Yeah, I'm watching it. Sorry. I think the second incident, him getting checked in the glass, is probably what caused the concussion. And just before that play too, I was noticing too, Doughty again. If you guys noticed that the first play, he dives into Quick's net. So I'm so surprised the league didn't actually take notice to this. They suspended Cogliano last season and broke his Iron Man, thing, but then they let Doughty just go and pretty much accost Kase for barely nicking Quick when he was just rushing the net. I think it's ridiculous that some players can get away with murder and others, if you breathe the wrong way, you're getting suspended.
Yeah, and that kind of brings us to one of our fan questions. Jen asked, if there should have been any discipline for Doughty, and I think absolutely. To me, he just took a run at Kase, whether or not he, clipped Quick or brushed against him or whatever. The fact that he got away with basically, going after him for nothing. Not saying that they would have suspended Doughty or anything, but maybe they would have for a preseason game, but that was the last one that they were playing, or they maybe would have fined him or something like that, or something. I mean, I was a little surprised too. They didn't do anything there, so I do agree with you though. I think it was the last incident where he got checked into the glass. I don't remember exactly who it was that checked him, but that was the moment that he was shaking his head, sat on the bench for a second, and went straight to the locker room. So unfortunately, Kase was out. And the Ducks, they were going through their opening roster and different things going on. We know that Kesler was still out. He did travel with the team to San Jose, but he wasn't going to play in the home opener. And we also know that Eaves is still dealing with a shoulder issue, which we had Lisa ask some questions about his status. And it seems like that they're trying to test it out. He's been skating at practice, but he's not been doing the full contact. So I think that's kind of the issue there that's going on with him, and obviously what's going on with the doctors and whatnot, and them trying to figure it out. So you've got Perry and Kase out. Kesler and Eaves are kind of on the horizon, and then you still have Richie, who's still in no man's land, and nothing's happened with that. We had one fan ask LA Nick. He asked, do we think that the Ducks will trade him? And I mean, that's a possibility, Eddie. They could do that. I mean, he's an RFA. They still have his rights. The thing with Richie's, he's got to figure out something, because come December 1st, if he doesn't figure out something, I mean, he's basically out the rest of the season, because the Ducks own the rights. If you're an RFA, you got to come to some agreement before then, or get traded, because then your season's done. So what do you think? You think, LA Nick's question, do you think Richie will get traded, or do you think he gets signed before December 1st?
I have no idea. I think his value, like I said in previous shows, it just dropped. I think some people like to hold off and kind of pressure the GM to make a move, but I think it backfired on Richie and he shot himself in the foot. Maybe he didn't expect these young kids to come in here and perform so well. I know Randy Carlisle has changed his system this season, and we saw in the Kings game that the Ducks were a lot faster, and they weren't dumping and chasing. They were bringing that puck in, making clean passes. Gets off the shot a few more times than he usually does. Then he passed a lot too, like he always does. I think it's just driving his value down, and I think he's probably, out of the 4 restricted free agents that were remaining, like I mentioned, Miles Wood, that got re-signed, he's not going to get more than $2 million from the Ducks. I can't see that happening at all. If any trade happens, I don't expect anything, like first or second round draft picks. Maybe a bottom 6 player for him and a 4th or 5th round draft pick. Maybe if lucky, we can get a 3rd round out of him. But personally, I don't think he's worth a 3rd round straight up. Maybe. So it's gonna have to wait and see who wants to pledge first. And it all depends on how our roster goes from here. Because if the Ducks, if these young kids start performing well and they're putting up points or making great plays, then why are we gonna bring in Richie and have to send one of these guys down when they're gelling well and they're playing good hockey? And then we're gonna bring in a guy that hasn't practiced with the team, that hasn't played preseason. He's just kind of like out there. And I'm pretty sure that there's some locker room things with that too. It's like, dude, like, why aren't you signing? Like, you are a player, you're a teammate, and you're holding off for money that everyone knows that he's not deserved. So I really hope he's not trying to get a long-term $5-6 million contract, because it's not going to happen at all. Like, maybe Ottawa's having a bad season, maybe they might overpay, but I don't think the Ducks will do it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Richie's almost become a lost cause. I hate to say that, having been such a high draft pick and so much promise and everything that came along with him. But like you said, he's not going to get more than $1 million and a little bit. I mean, $2 million, I think, is even high for him. So, and the Ducks, if there's a sign as far as that's going, they picked up Pontus Agberg off of waivers and brought him in. So the Ducks did add some depth with all these injuries. I think that's kind of a sign there too, that hey, they're going to bring in another forward, because nothing's happening as far as the negotiations in a positive way with Nick Ritchie. So I thought this was an interesting pickup though, Eddie Richard. You remember Berg? He's the one that scored the game-winning goal against the Ducks. in Game 5 in the playoffs a couple years ago with Nashville, and he played with Edmonton last year. He had a couple goals in 16 games. I mean, he's not an all-star by any means, and I know some Ducks fans are a little upset. They're like, why do we claim this guy? But I think this guy's going to be a good pickup. He's a low cost, high reward. If he comes in and does well and can score some goals, he's got some speed too as well. I think he can help the team out. And if he doesn't shake out and Steele, Terry, and these other guys tear it up, then you just send him down to San Diego and go with that. I mean, I think that's the key there. I like the addition helping out as far as picking him up, and someone else claims him on waivers or whatnot. They try to send him down. I mean, I don't think it's a big loss. But what did you think about the Ducks claiming him from Edmonton?
So just like you said, I mean, we picked him up, and it's not going to be anything negative on us. He's fast. He has those quick legs. So I mean, that's a plus right there. He proved that that 16 games he played in the playoffs that one year when he scored that Game 5. Oh God, I don't want to think about that. He scored that game when he go in Game 5. If he scores for us tonight, I'll forgive him. Like I said, it's a potential high reward at no cost, to get him. He hasn't really had a chance, and he hasn't really done much after that playoff season. He's had decent numbers in the AHL, so if him dropping down to San Diego will even improve them and help them more. So that'll be good. But I mean, it's cool to give it a try. It didn't cost us anything. We had to trade a draft pick. We had to trade a player. Like everyone still talks about Carlson that went to Columbus, and he went to Vegas. People freaked out because of what we got from them. So it's not like, we traded so and so, and then look how they're tearing it up, and we just got this back. No, I mean, why not give him a chance? He has a big opportunity right now since we have a lot of injuries. He's going to play in that bottom six role. He's going to have that speed that we all want. We want to get faster. I mean, why not? I was happy, and at first I was kind of cringing, like, oh man, this guy. No, I mean, first he scores a Game 5 goal, then he has an Edmonton jersey on, and now he's over here with the Ducks jersey. But you know what? He's a Duck. I support him, and I really hope he does well, and I hope he breaks out, and build and goes up to his potential, and just has a good season with us and brings us goals and points, and just makes his line mates around him better as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to talk about the lineup that it looks like it's going to be for opening night. If you're listening to the show, we're recording before the home opener, so obviously we're not going to talk about what happened during that game, but we will talk about the lineups and whatnot, projected at least. But before we do that, I do want to talk about our patreon.com/DucksNPucks website. We've had a lot of support on there recently, and we appreciate it tremendously. We're giving away tickets to the home opener, to the Korea game, the Scott Niedermayer retirement game as well. We'll be giving away some hockey sticks on there. We're going to give away another third jersey. We gave away one on social media, so look for that as well. We also have gift cards every month from Cool Hockey. So there's a lot of things that we're going to be giving away on there. We'll be posting some extra content and whatnot as well. And we're not going to charge you as far as articles and podcasts. I know that some other companies out there are doing that now. That's not what we're doing, but we will throw in some extra content on there that's not normally on our shows or articles. And we'll also give you free gear. And also a shout out as well, which brings me to we had a lot of people sign up in the last couple days. So throughout the show, we'll give a shout out to a few different people. We'll kind of do a couple groups. But the first group I want to give a shout out to is Leo, Matt, Bob, and Bree. Those four, thank you for supporting us and donating. I've mailed out a bunch of stuff today, so hope you guys get those packages soon. So thank you for doing that. Sign up, check it out.
Thank you.
Like I said, patreon.com/DucksNPucks. So with that, let's talk about the lineup here. So based upon the reports out there from Eric Stevens and the LA Times and a few other people, this is kind of what they're saying that the lineup may look like going into game one. And obviously this could change right before the game, but at least this is what we've been told. So it looks like, and we'll break it down. We'll go with, in net is going to be Gibson, which has already been confirmed. There's no real discussion or debate about that. But we'll break down the offense and the defense. So looking at the forwards, they're talking about the first line of going Raquel, Getzlaf, and Terry. The second line, Comtois, Henrique, Silverberg. The third line, Cogliano, Steele, Aberg. And then the fourth line, just kind of the mix of all the new guys. You've got Street, Roney, and Sherwood. Sherwood, another surprise that made the team. But it's kind of interesting. If you look at this lineup, Eddie, you've got obviously several new faces, but of the guys coming up, you haven't spread out throughout the lineup. You've got Terry on that top line, Comtois on the second, Steele centering the third, and then Sherwood on the fourth line. I think it's interesting. I think the Ducks are kind of going with the approach of, okay, we've got these new guys. We're going to play them, but they're also kind of spread them out throughout the lineup, which I think is a smart thing to do, because maybe if you put a bunch of the new guys together, maybe they get too excited or maybe take too many penalties or something like that. I don't know, but I think it's a good strategy, and I just kind of noticed that looking at the projected lineup for the forwards. What did you think about it, Eddie?
I like it. I like the fact it's spread out. You have, Troy Terry up in that top line. Obviously, that might change, and that's good. It's gonna force him to give it 110% each game, and it's gonna force Getzlaf and Raquel as well, to up their game. Because do you really want to get shown up by a rookie? Do you really want Troy Terry outskating Getzlaf or Raquel? No. You want to just, be that example as the veterans on the team and as a captain, and then Raquel's, someday down the future is going to have that leadership role, and they want to lead by example. So I think that first line, she's going to make Raquel, Getzlaf, and Terry, they're all going to just get better from that. And if not, we can always, we can switch Terry around. We can move, like Randy Carl likes to do, switch the lines. I see that second line, and I have drool coming out of my mouth for some reason. I have no idea why. I like this second line. It looks good on paper. Each individual person looks good. Henrique, scored a few goals in the preseason. Comtois, and I pronounced his name wrong. I'm sorry. I'll write it on the board 10 times later. And Silverberg. I think that line's going to be dangerous, and that's going to be that 1-2 punch from the first line and the second line. The third line, it's kind of a mixture. You have speed. You have a lot of speed in that third line. And the fourth line's, hopefully something happens with them. Sherwood and Street, they're hungry. And hopefully they just, they work their way up from that fourth line and take this opportunity. For them, it's not just the fourth line. It's just, that's an opportunity that they're going to get in the NHL and do something big. And as far as goaltending, I'm a Ducks fan. We're Ducks fans, so we have to debate. So I'm going to disagree with Gibson. I think Miller should be number one. That's totally a joke right there, just because everyone likes to throw the whole goalie debates in Anaheim. So yeah, I think our lines look good. I'm a little worried about our defense lines, the bottom two.
Yeah, we had a fan question about that too, and I know I talked about that in previous podcasts, about that. And that's what Adam asked us. He goes, what do you think about, the bottom pairings? And he also has us touch on the forwards, which we'll talk about that a little bit more too. But yeah, a couple things going on with the defense here, kind of interesting. Is you've got Fowler and Manson together, and then Lindholm and Montour, which is kind of a switch up. We've been used to seeing Lindholm and Manson together, and then Fowler and Montour. So if that's going to stick, I don't know. I think that's a little interesting. I kind of like having Manson and Lindholm together, because that's usually your best pairing, your shutdown pairing. But maybe Carlisle's trying to spread them out because of the bottom pairing. That pairing is going to have Suster, Shin, and Peterson kind of rotating, which, I'm not really fond of Shin or Schuster that much. I don't have a high opinion of those guys. I don't think that they're necessarily bad players. I just don't. I think the drop-off is huge. From Fowler, Manson, Lindholm, and Montour. That's what kind of scares me a little bit. I wonder how much ice time that third pairing will actually get. I think the other two are going to shoulder the load going forward. Though I do like Peterson. He did some good things last season. So maybe he'll be in there on the third period, and maybe Schuster and Shin rotate out instead of putting those two together. I don't know how that's all going to shake out on that third pairing, but Some interesting things. What do you think about the shakeup on the Manson Lindholm, being together, and then that third pairing, Eddie?
I don't mind them switching the top four up. I mean, maybe something in camp, maybe more like off ice that we don't see chemistry, because that's a big thing too with hockey is chemistry. I played on a team before I went to the army, and we were just made up of guys that were just average, and then we started playing in what D1 division, then we went to C, B, and then the very top division. We weren't the best skilled guys, but we had so much chemistry, and we'd always hang out. We had beers after the game. We'd meet up, on different days and just play it like ball hockey. We just had that. So when it came game time, I would pass the puck without even looking, knowing that my partner would be right there, and just have that chemistry. I don't like the bottom line putting Shin and Seuss together. I mean, you're putting two slower guys on the third line. I mean, they're both stay-at-home defenseman type. With don't have a lot of speed. I mean, Seuss is 6'7", so his reach is to his advantage. So when he's not that fast, I mean, his long reach can create problems for the other team. I think we should have someone pairing with him that has a little bit more speed, and we can balance the lines out. Because you don't want to put too much pressure on the top two lines, and then something happens, an injury happens, and guess what? You're throwing all out of whack, or their gas come overtime, and they don't have that that to go and finish it off strong. Because the way it looks on paper, the top four, they're going to get a lot of minutes, and it might burn them out time after time. It's an 82 game season, and then sometimes it gets rough, and then coming to overtime, it's like, oh man, I gave it all my all for 3 periods. I literally have nothing left, and you're gonna have to rely on either a forward jumping in that defensive position or one of the bottom players. So I don't know. I would like to see someone faster paired with someone slower on that bottom pair. Someone more stay-at-home defenseman and someone that's more of a two-way on that bottom pair. As far as it looks right now, like I have no issue with the players individually, but I don't like them together.
Well, Kevin Biex is still available, Eddie. You want to stay at home defenseman for the third pairing? He's still available. You talked to him. Yeah, exactly. I mean, we talked about that on the last show, and if you didn't notice too, I posted a little interview I had with him on the Patreon website as well. So if you subscribe there, you can hear what he had to say. Kind of interesting comments about the team. But no, anyways, yeah, I agree with you. I think the third pairing is probably not going to see as much time, and it could be troublesome if we're rolling the other two pairs, a lot if later on in the game, and not early as much as you said, and then you've got to also turn around and lean on Gibson a little bit more. So that's something to watch. That third pairing is a little bit concerning. But going back to the forwards and whatnot, what do you think about the new guys as far as how they did in the preseason? You had Sam Steele that had that awesome goal against the Kings in the preseason. You had Comtois that really developed in the last year. Terry, we knew was going to be up in there. Sherwood was a little bit of a surprise as well. We had one of the questions from one of the fans as well, thinking about, who do we think is going to produce? I'm really looking at Steele right now. But what do you think, between those four guys? Sherwood obviously more a fourth line type guy. But maybe between Terry, Comtois, and Steele, is there one that you think might, shine more than another one this season?
Well, I want to say at first I want to say Steele. He's the most popular decision amongst myself and fans. But the scene Comtois play on the preseason, he was just it was natural to him. It just the way he moved with the puck, he's so smooth. I watched him in practice. He's a rookie playing in a preseason AHL. He's a rookie playing with the Ducks team at camp. If I were him, I'd be sweating. I'd be making mistakes, but he didn't really make that many mistakes. Like he was just on his game. He's real focused, and I'm looking for him to have a breakout season. And if unfortunately I couldn't pick him up in fantasy because I probably would have picked him up on fantasy because I can see him getting those points. And I know he has that 10 game tryout, whatever. But I really think that he's going to make a stance and force the Ducks to keep him past that 10 games. So I'm looking forward to seeing him. And you know what? Honestly, looking at this roster, I don't think any of these players will be dropped down. Obviously, it's going to happen when players start coming back from injury, but I would hate to see it. I just hope all three of these players force the Ducks to make them stay. I mean, if we can get these guys producing, we can possibly make a trade to get our team even better. We can, we have more options. It's always to have, a surplus than not. So, the only problem I want to have from these new guys coming in and making their stance is like just giving their nicknames. Like, what are we gonna call them? Troy Terry. I've been calling him, Tears, as tearing it up. Little, thing of, Corey Perry's thing. Sam Steele. I don't know. I called him Man of Steel one day because I don't know. Bud Light told me to, and I just watched Superman. So. I mean, I wish them all the best of luck, but the most important thing is when it comes down to the scoreboard, the Ducks are on top. When it comes down to the points and standings, the Ducks are up there. So, I mean, I would love to see these guys stick around. I would love to see them contribute and everything, but, I mean, I don't care who puts up the points. I mean, Shin and Schuster could be the leading Ducks scorers as far as I'm concerned. I mean, Gibson can learn how to shoot the puck harder with his goalie stick and score. I mean, as long as the Ducks are up there in standings and we're winning, that's all that matters.
Yeah, exactly. And I look at this lineup as far as the forwards. I think the top three lines are still pretty good. I mean, Raquel, Getzloff, and Terry, that should be pretty good. Like we said, Comtois, Henrique, and Silverberg is another good line to look at. The third line, kind of up in the air. Obviously, it's Caggiano, and then you got Steele and a Berg. I'm not really sure how that chemistry is going to work out. It's a super fast line for sure, but as far as scoring offensively, I just don't know. I'm going to have to see it, but I think that's a good line as well. And then, of course, the fourth line is the fourth line. We all know how Carlisle likes to use his fourth line. So any production out of the fourth line, I'd be happy. I'm not expecting a whole lot there to come from Street, Roney, and Sherwood, and whoever else rotates.
From that fourth line though is more of that grit Carlisle likes, that goon, no, not goon kind of player. I guess they're called grinders now.
Right.
Forcers out. I mean, I don't really see that in that line, which I kind of miss. I mean, I Shin, maybe him, but I mean, I don't want Manson fighting. As much as I like seeing him fight, I don't want him injured for any reason. I can't really. And Sherwood, yeah, I don't want to see him fight either. I'm kind of thinking, maybe I'm thinking back like old school hockey. Is I want that one player that's kind of skilled, that grinder type of player that can produce at times, but then can stick up for his teammates as well. Especially we saw the preseason, the first LA Kings game versus Ducks, it was mild. The second one, oh no, you can tell the hatred was there. And it's only going to get worse for the regular season when the road games happen, especially tonight too. Because as you know, I spoke to Patrick Eaves, and Ducks still have a chip on their shoulder, and they want to get back at San Jose. San Jose, got better on the blue line, and we still have that bad blood for them and stuff like that. I mean, we can all just imagine what's going to happen tonight, and looking forward to that. But I don't know. Me personally, I would like to see someone on that bottom, that fourth line, more of a little scrappy player. I don't know, Mike. What do you think about that?
Well, the player that comes to mind is Chris Wagner. That's the one that I'm still upset about that he's gone. He's one of my favorite players. So him not being there is one of those guys that it doesn't necessarily have to fight, but he rolls around and he hits everybody. So that's one of the ones that that I'm really gonna miss. And I think you're right. I think that's what we need, going into this season is a player like that in the fourth line. So we'll see how it pans out. Sherwood and Roney are pretty good, so they'll be tough. But I mean, playing the Sharks team in the first game of the season, it's not going to be easy. You've got Vander Kane is on that team. Of course, they picked up Carlson. They won I would call it the Eric Carlson sweepstakes. So you have him and Brett Burns backed on the blue line, which is scary. You have their captain, Thornton back. Well, used to be captain, but Thornton's back for another season. So it's going to be a tough one in the first game. I think that there will be some animosity, and like you said, anytime the Ducks and the Sharks play, and then of course the Ducks and the Kings, that's what we're going to see. So we'll see what this team's kind of made of, Eddie, going into this first game.
Yeah, you know what? I kind of lost hope for the San Jose Sharks. They lost their biggest secret weapon, and I'm calling this right now that I think they're going to be a bust this season. Joe Thornton shaves his jersey or his beard? No way. They lost their best player in that Joe Thornton beard. I don't know what he was thinking or what's going on over there when he did that, but I think that's going to mess up their juju for the team. And I saw the picture that was posted on Twitter when they were shaving, and I saw numerous alcohol cans in the background, so I'm pretty sure that had a contributing factor to why he did it. Like I said before, it all goes with chemistry. Everyone's excited about Erik Karlsson. That's awesome, but how is he going to perform? How are the other players going to perform? How the Vlasic, the Brett Burns? I mean, you're going to have Karlsson, presumably playing on the top power play line, getting those minutes and taking the puck up more. How is Jones going to react knowing that he has another defenseman rushing the puck? Because Burns does the same thing. He likes to score. He likes to take shots. He was used as a forward at times. So there's a lot of factors that go into that. I like Erik Karlsson as a player. Like he's one of my favorite players. So it sucks seeing him go to the Sharks. I really like. I hope he has a great career, successful. But I hope it's never against the Ducks, and I hope his team struggles. That's just my thing on it. So the Ottawa curse, I want to call it.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want him to play well against us, of course. And I think that's why some of the fans are frustrated too, because in the offseason, the Ducks didn't make a big move. So we're going to kind of talk about that for a second about the lineup. But before we do that, again, I've got another group of people that I want to thank on Patreon for signing up. I want to thank Karen, Peter, Robert, and Martha for all signing up. You can do it as well on patreon.com/DucksNPucks. And like we said, we're going to be giving away game tickets and merchandise as well. So with that, let's talk about the lineup. So the Ducks didn't go out. They didn't get a big-name player. You have a lot of these new, younger guys in the lineup. And I've kind of gotten this sense that the fans have kind of gone two different ways on this, Eddie. It seems like some people are really excited because there's a lot of youth in the lineup, and then it seems like other fans are very, very nervous. They're like, okay, well, we got a bunch of new guys. We have no Perry, no Kesler and Eaves, at least for a little bit. Now Kase, we don't know. It seems like people, are concerned. And so what do you think? Are you concerned at the beginning of the season with the way it's going with all these young guys? Or are you kind of looking at the positive and going, well, we've got all these newer players, all of them have been doing pretty well, the ones that they've got on the roster now. What are you thinking, as far as, your outlook basically as we go into this first game of the season?
Well, my general outlook, and people that know me well, I'm more of a positive person, and I have a theory because every time I think something positive, it turns out negative, and every time I'm positive, it turns out negative, whatever. But with hockey, I don't know. With hockey, I'm always positive. I love the game. I love the sport. I played on Monday with my goalie. He's 71 years old, been playing for 43 years, and he just hung up his goalie pads. At 71, he's still playing the game because he loves it too. He never complains. It's hot, it's cold. I mean, we can suck in front of him. Our defense can just, not show up. He plays the game to love it. So, I mean, that's my mentality of it. I'm just happy that it's October 3rd. It's so fetch for some of you listening right now. October 3rd, look it up. I mean, the Mean Girls Day, I don't know how that got trending, but I'm using it to, stay part of the culture, I guess, to feel young again. But no, I'm just really optimistic. It's game one. We're all in first place today, and we're going to go from here. I mean, everyone's tied for the Calder. Everyone's tied for the Norris. All those trophies. Everyone starts off, at the starting line right here. So I'm just happy that I get to wake up. I woke up cranky today, but because hockey. I forgot my backpack at home. I still was smiling because of hockey. I left my lights on. My car didn't start. Had to get it jumped. Still smiling because of hockey. So, I mean, I'm looking at this team come day one as we're going to be the Stanley Cup champions, and that's how I look at it. And that's how most people should look at it when you're following a team. Because if you don't think that your team's going to win the championship, what's the point of having a favorite team? Why don't you just watch hockey because you like hockey? I mean, I'm not trying to dog on anyone, but I mean, some people get too negative, and it seems like they just want to be negative, and when a team struggles or does anything wrong, they jump on it. No team's gonna go 82-0 and go unscored on. So I mean, I'm just happy hockey's back, and I really hope the Ducks give it their best. I hope we see a new a transition playing style. Hope our rookies perform well. I'm just overall I'm just excited, especially the Paul Kariya thing and Scott Niedermayer. I know DucksNPucks posted a video on that, and that's a motivating video right there. That's just like, man, let's get it started. I want to just jump through a wall of my hockey jersey, start yelling, "Hockey's back, people!" I mean, I don't want to get committed to a mental hospital, but man, I mean, I'm just positive on hockey in general. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I look at this season. Yeah, I mean, I get it. There's some concern. Perry out for several months. Kase, we don't know. And then, Kesler and Eaves are supposed to come back, but we don't know when. But I'm kind of excited, though. I mean, you're going to see Troy Terry. You're going to see Comtois, Sam Steele. I mean, it's, you got these newer players that are going to come into the lineup, and then they're going to have a chance to prove to do something. So it's, very exciting to me to see these guys and see what they can do. And I think this team can actually do some good things. And then if they do poorly in October, November, then I'm not going to be that upset, because that's what we've done the last couple seasons. Is we start out slow, and then come the holidays they pick it up. So I'm not going to be worried. I'm just really glad that I get to see these guys all the time playing now, or at least for a handful of games, depending on when Eaves and Kesler come back. So I think that part right there is the fun part that you got to look forward to, is the season. A lot of fresh faces, guys that are getting a chance that may not have had a chance with some of these injuries and whatnot. So I'm looking to see how they do that way, and that's what is making it exciting for me as the Ducks get going on this season. With that, again, I want to mention a couple more Patreon people. We're trying to get through the list here. A lot of you helped out, so I want to mention also a shout out and thanks to Tom, Evan, Ashley, and Lisa. So thanks for doing the Patreon thing. If you haven't checked it out, it's patreon.com/DucksNPucks. So thanks for doing that.
You guys are really awesome. Thank you so much for supporting. I mean, this takes, it's a lot of work. And a lot of people don't understand that it's a lot of work to do a podcast and to write, especially making graphics and things, to make you laugh, to retweet, to share. It's never just, you're sitting there doing it randomly. No, it's a 24-hour thing when ideas come up. So thank you. And my bet's still on. If we hit that 25th mark for our Patreon supporters, I'll buy you guys a bottle of Patron. So kidding on that. No, but I'll actually show up to class in full skater gear. I don't want to scare everyone too much coming in goalie gear, but I'll go full skater gear with the Ducks jersey on. I'll live video, I'll record it, and take pictures. You guys can share it, make fun of me. I'll probably get kicked out of class, who knows, but you know what? I mean, it's hockey, and I love the sport, so doing something, a bet for hockey, just, only shows my character and personality for the game.
And we're almost there too. We're at 21, so we're getting close. Only 4 more. So with that, there's some other news around the league. I know, Eddie, you wanted to talk about a little bit. What are some of the other stories out there around the league that you want to cover before we wrap up the show?
Yeah. Well, I was thinking, with Perry and Kesler gone, there's no alternate captains for the Ducks, so we have to see who's going to take that role. But the Rangers announced they're going with 5 alternates. Like, whoa. Like, what's going on over there? I'm more just traditional. Just, you have a captain, you have 2 alternates, and alternate goes down, and you have someone else to step in and fill that role. But you're having 5 people. On that, I guess I guess you're New York City. You want the attention, so hey, good for you. Another thing that's kind of sad, and I don't know really what's going on. This was a translated article. I tried translating it through Google, but Chris Stewart played for the Ducks. I guess the team announced that he was missing because he missed practice and no one heard from him, and then they updated it too. And I guess he's retiring from his professional hockey career, citing just serious family problems. So I don't know what's going on over there, but I keep in my thoughts and prayers, him and his family. I hope everything works out for him. I always said this: I hate seeing players go out when they're not ready to. And he just signed a new contract with a European team, and I don't think he was ready to leave. So I don't know what's going on with Chris Stewart over there, but I send in my best, and hopefully it gets worked out, and hopefully he's able to come back to hockey once that all gets worked out over there.
Yeah, it's unfortunate whatever's going on over there. He was a former Duck as well too, but I mean that even taking that into account, any player you don't wish any kind of family problems or whatnot's going on. So hopefully he does get better. Another one other thing we could touch on too, Eddie, is that it looks like Seattle is going to move forward with their expansion for the NHL. The league announced that just recently, so that's going to be interesting because the way that the divisions are set up right now, I wonder if they're going to have to do some kind of realignment or whatnot. What do you think about Seattle getting a team now?
I'm happy. Anything to move hockey and expand it, I'm all for it. The realigning is going to be a tough one. Are you going to bring, the Red Wings back to the West?
Hell no.
Or no, actually, it's a move a team, right? Yeah, we'll have more. Yeah.
It's going to be uneven unless they bring in another team at the same time.
Are you going to move the Stars to the Eastern Conference or what's closer over there? The Avalanche won't go. I mean, that's going to be weird. We're going to have a lot more teams. There's going to be a lot more competition. And Seattle's going to have, big shoes to fill because everyone's going to expect them to do what the Golden Knights did and have that success. So, but, I'm glad they're getting hockey over there. One of my good friends, Lauren Barenhorst, she's stationed over there in the Army. She loves hockey. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure she's excited to actually have a pro rink she can go to. And that just means more, ice rinks and roller rinks for the kids and beer leaguers and just spreading out hockey and bringing more fans. That's the most important thing. But me personally, and you can just sit me in the front of the desk and change my mind, I think hockey is the greatest sport in the world. It's the best sport, better than any other sport. Our athletes, it's just the whole game in general. So I like it. It's good. I mean, I wish them nothing but success except when they play the Ducks.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to correct one thing. So if Seattle does come, what'll happen is they'll go into the West, and then it will be evened out. I actually misspoke a little bit earlier, but the problem is most likely you're going to have to put them in the Pacific Division, which then it would be uneven, is what I was trying to get at. So Seattle comes in, they go in the Pacific. The Pacific then has 9 teams, and then the Central has 7. So something between there is going to have to give. That's what I was trying to get at. Not so much from east to west, but anyways, that's kind of the issue. So I don't know if they move somebody.
Yeah, well, that's an easy fix right there. You can take Los Angeles Kings and go to Quebec.
Yeah, I would. Oh man, I would think. Looking at the geography, I mean, I don't know. It would either be Vegas or Arizona, maybe that would kind of move over if they were to do that. I don't know. I don't know how they would do it unless they do a complete shakeup of everything, like we kind of talked about earlier. But it'll be interesting because, like we said, if most likely they put Seattle in the Pacific, so then you've got 9 there and then 7 in the Central. So something's got to give, and unless they're going to put them in the Central, which wouldn't really make sense. So something to look forward to how they realign that. Not really sure how it's going to go down. But like you said, I'm excited too. Excited to see more teams and to, see the league growing and just like you and just enjoying the sport of hockey as well. So we just obviously hope that when they come in, they're not the next Vegas team and they take the Pacific by storm. But that's something to monitor, something that's exciting. And for this season, we're going to be back every week doing the show as much as we can, like we did last year, just on a weekly basis. And we'll go over those games for the week as well. We'll go over your fan questions like we've been doing. We'll have more and more giveaways through the Patreon website. I've got a couple more people to thank. I also want to thank Elizabeth, Dwight, and Scott as well. They also donated recently, so thank you. And like I said, you can get free gear and shout outs and whatnot. I also want to thank one of my buddies, Eric Miles. He's really helped out a lot with promoting DucksNPucks and helping me do things as far as interact with players and other things like that. He actually has an entertainment company. If you need any kind of like DJing or photo booths or anything party oriented, he's very good at that. He DJs and does things like that. And you can check him out at Entertainment Concepts on his Facebook page. So if you just type it in there, you'll find his page. A good friend of mine. He's been a long time supporter, so I appreciate his help. And also, too, if you have a business that you want to advertise on the podcast, just let us know. We can set you up through the Patreon website. It's not just for fans; it's also for people that are looking to promote businesses as well. So this is going to be a tale of 2 teams, I think, that we're going to see here, Eddie, in the beginning of the season. We'll see if they're going to sync. and kind of crack with all the new guys and some of the veterans out, or we're going to see if they're going to get off to a racing start. But either way, I'm excited for the season, Eddie.
Yeah, hey Mike, I wanted to ask you a question.
Sure.
Who scores the first goal? Who opens up the Ducks scoring for the season?
Oh boy, I'm going with Sam Steele.
Oh man, I should have answered first. Down to Ducks Nation, they had like a little, guessing game, and I picked Sam Steele, and I actually picked the Ducks winning tonight too. What's your prediction for the tonight's game?
I think it's going to be a tough one. I think the Ducks can pull it out, but I think this game is going to be like a 3-2 win, something like that. That's what I'm hoping. Of course, if you're listening to this after the game, then oh well. But we record this before the game and posted it that day. So if you're hearing this before, that's our prediction. And if I'm right afterwards, I'm great. If I'm wrong, then you can guillotine me or pull out the pitchforks or whatever you want to do. But either way, like I said, we'll be back every week. We'll be covering the Ducks, like we said, interacting with your fan questions. We'll have watch parties too this season, as we've done before. And like I said, just look for a lot of giveaways this year. Giving away a lot of game tickets, hockey sticks, and things like that. So I appreciate your support. We'll see you guys in about a week. And let's go Ducks.